Jump in the chat. We want to hear from you. It's filling up quickly. That's great. So just a heads up, guys, we have over 2,000 people registered today. So it's going to be great. It's going to be exciting. We got a lot planned for you. Bear with us as we try to keep up with the chat. I know, Linda, that's right. Whoa, 2,000. It's pretty crazy. So this is going to be quite the event today. Quite the event. I've got Ramona here with me. Hello, hello. Excited to have her
Hi.
here from BookBaby. Yeah. Oh, I don't know about you, Ramona, but I love looking in the chat and seeing people from like all over the world who come to
Yeah.
these events. It's so much fun to see
Wow,
all the diversity.
Tasmania.
Yeah, Tasmania. We get people from uh, Africa. We get people from Australia, Europe, Asia. I mean, they're just
New
everywhere.
Zealand.
It's great.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what time it is where you all are, but if you're, whoo, you must have really stayed up for this. So I hope we make it worth your while.
Oh, we will. We will. We got you covered there. We got a great session for everyone today. So, welcome everyone. Oh man. So while everyone's coming in here and saying their hellos, we appreciate that. We're gonna drop you a question, okay, real quick. Let me pull it up so I have it. So I'm curious. Now, or rather, have you set any writing goals for your book this year? And if you have, I'd like you to share one with us, and we'll look at those as you guys are coming in here. Okay. Ooh, El Paso, Texas. For those who don't know, I'm at Texas. That's where I'm at. I love seeing Texans. That's great. Perfect, perfect. Well, yeah, Nancy says yes. LOL,
Write it.
right. That's a good goal. I like that. I like that. Great goal. Write consistently. Okay, good. We're going to talk about that today. Currently have a goal for 50,000 words this month. Man, the chat has never gone this fast. I'm like having to like scroll to keep
Yeah.
to keep up with it. Um, to write my first draft. That's a great goal. First edit, 10K this month. Oh man, I can't even keep up. Will there be a replay? Yes, there will be a replay. I'll talk about that here in just a little bit. Okay. Yes, to get published. Okay, great. Excellent. To get illustrations finished. They disappeared before I could even finish reading them. I want to finish my novel that has been in the works for 3 years by January 30th, 2025. That's a great goal. That is an excellent goal. Let's
Yeah,
see
these are
here.
ambitious goals.
Yeah. Finish the editing process. Great. Hit 10,000 words so far this month. Going for 30,000. That's great. Uh, my goal is to finish rewrites. If I can find the rest of the comment on my first novel. Great. Excellent. These are great goals, guys.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk a lot about how we can see these goals realized, how to bring them not from just like in your head or on a piece of paper, but actually make them happen. How you can create a system, a writing system that will actually serve you and get you not only just from will get you from zero all the way to finished, and then we have our book baby specialist here, Ramona. She's going to help you figure out how to get from finished to published. So really excited to hear from her today, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So I think we're going to give everyone just a couple more minutes to jump in here before we get started. Let me pull up some notes and see what we got for you here. Before I forget. Okay, so okay, yes, there were questions about the replay, right? So for those of you who wish to revisit today's session or share it with your fellow writers, this webinar will be recorded. Okay, so watch out for that. You can find the replay on my YouTube channel tomorrow and enjoy it ad-free next week in the Literature and Latte webinar library. And Ruth we have her here today as our technical support specialist. She's going to handle all your questions and things throughout the session today. If you can help her out, it looks like it's going to be a lot easier for her to answer those questions in the Q&A. The chat's going pretty quickly. It's going to be hard to keep track of everything going on there. So if you can throw your questions in the Q&A, those will stay there. She can see them and she can help you out throughout the session. Also, if you have any technical problems, let her know. She'll let us know. We can then kind of get things figured out. Let's see if I missed anything. Yeah. And she'll also get you those links out to you as well. Calvin says, hello, Ruth. We love technical support. That's great. I agree. I love technical support too. They make it possible to do the things we need to do, right? Yep. Perfect. Oh, okay. Oh, yep. Now I see the Q&A is blowing up. That's great. Good, guys.
Mhm.
Keep putting them there. We got this. Okay. Well, I think we're 6 minutes after the hour. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Is that okay with you, Ramona?
Sounds good.
Perfect. Okay. I'm going to close some things out and we will get this party started. Here goes nothing. Okay, well, welcome everyone to the final event for the November Scrivener webinar series brought to you by the creative minds behind Scrivener and Scapple, Literature and Latte, and the nation's leading self-publishing company, BookBaby. I'm Oliver Evensen, your host for today, bringing you insights drawn from over 15 years of writing and Scrivener expertise. Now, whether you're a seasoned author or just starting out your writing adventure, our webinars are designed with your needs in mind. Today, we will be exploring 5 steps to finish and publish your book before the new year. And remember, I do have our dedicated technical support person standing by. That is Ruth. I'm so excited to have her with us today, too. If you encounter any issues, please reach out to her in that Q&A. Now, we are... thank you so much for your patience as we're waiting for everyone to get in here. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, real quick, I want to spend a few minutes outlining the schedule for today's session. Before we start, I'll give a quick introduction to myself, my co-host, and the key skills you should learn from us today. After the introduction, we'll move straight into our training, which will take place in 2 parts. First, I'll share with you my 5-step writing system to get your book finished. After I conclude my training, I'll turn the time over to Ramona to talk about how BookBaby is uniquely positioned to help indie authors self-publish their novels professionally. And after she finishes her training, to wrap things up, I'll provide you with a wealth of free resources you can utilize to deepen your understanding of Scrivener and improve your writing skills so you can get that book finished and published in no time. Last but not least, I'll leave ample time at the end for a Q&A where Ramona and I will do our best to answer as many of your questions as possible. Let's begin. Now, for those of you who are new and don't have a clue who I am, my name is Oliver Evensen. I'm a writer, editor, and mentor with 15 years of Scrivener and writing experience, and I'm keen to teach you what I have learned in my position as the outreach specialist for Literature and Latte, the creators of Scrivener and Scapple. Now, I absolutely love connecting with other like-minded writers, so if you'd like to connect with me, please send me an email, or better yet, join one of my email lists. I frequently send out valuable tips and techniques to help you become a better writer, and all subscribers will receive a free copy of my free Scrivener starter novel template. You can join today by visiting ojevanson.com/links or scanning that QR code right there in the presentation. And with me today, my co-host is Ramona Pina, and she is a published author with over 15 years of experience in creative ventures. Apart from contributing multimedia works to various literary magazines, she has freelanced with several app startups, blogs, creative consultants, and e-commerce brand managers. Today, Ramona is a trusted 8-year publishing specialist veteran at BookBaby and coordinates with designers and production experts to support fellow authors in pursuit of their publishing dreams. Really excited to have you here with us, Ramona.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, let's do this. Okay. Well, now there's nothing I hate more than attending a live event and then waiting like 45 minutes before the presenter even gets to his training, if he gets to it at all. And that's why I like to set and establish very clear expectations for what I promise to teach in all of my webinars. So in this webinar, you can expect to learn 5 skills. Okay. Now, I promise to teach you how to eliminate distractions and become intentional with your time and attention so you can actually finish your book. 2, how to set realistic writing goals and deadlines that will help you actually write your book. 3, how to create a writing system that gets you in the zone and keeps you writing routinely. 4, how to get and give feedback in a way that will help your writing skills blossom and grow. 5, how to quickly export your writing out of Scrivener for final formatting and publication. And by the conclusion of this presentation, I'm confident you will possess a strong understanding of Scrivener's fundamentals of how to finish and self-publish your novel today. I believe you can do it. Let's begin. Starting off with step 1, eliminating distractions. Now, we all live in a world that is intentionally designed to captivate our attention. And hate it or love it, our attention is for sale. And when we fail to consciously direct it, someone will seize it for their own purposes. Our divided attention could cost us time, money, and so much more. So it's really important that we intentionally design our lives in a way that leads to success. Now, what success means to you as a writer is largely up to you. But regardless of how you define your success, you must still carve time to write. Eliminate unnecessary distractions and build and nurture systems that will help you write better, learn more, and read widely. Now, I have plenty of ideas for achieving this goal, but let's keep it straightforward. Simply for me, just turn it off. For me, it begins with managing notification preferences on all my devices. Can you recall what happens when you install a new app on your smartphone? One of the first requests the app makes is a request for your attention. And how is this achieved? Through notifications. Now, personally, I've made it a habit to intentionally turn off notifications. When I get that prompt, I decline it immediately. That's every time I install a new app. So my encouragement to you is raid your notification on all your devices. Turn off everything except the absolute essentials. And if possible, group notifications together to be viewed at one time rather than just being constantly attacked all day long by notifications. Now, another great one is do not disturb mode. That's a must-have, in my opinion, for all writers. I enable it to ensure I'm completely free of distraction on my Apple devices. So if you're part of the Apple ecosystem, it's fantastic that this focus mode can seamlessly sync across all your devices. I'm sure there's a similar approach on Android, but wherever you're at, find that do not disturb mode, turn it on. Now, one thing I want to say about this is that while do not disturb is great, it's not foolproof. When I really want to disconnect from everything, I just turn off all my devices except for the one I'm working on. In fact, I'll even disable Wi-Fi and cellular connections to really just like dive in. And the really cool good news about this is if you use Scrivener, Scrivener is actually fully available offline. It's a fantastic feature that I love about it. A lot of apps require an internet connection to work. Scrivener is not one of those apps. You can use it completely offline. However, if you are using the cloud, so let's say you're saving your projects in the cloud in someplace like Dropbox, for example, you just need to make sure that Dropbox is fully synced on your device before going offline. And additionally, make sure that when you return online, Dropbox is fully synced. So your changes, you allow Dropbox to fully sync your changes before you move on to another device. Now, even if I had disregarded all the advice I just gave you, Scrivener still has an excellent mode or feature that allows you to effortlessly eliminate distractions with a single click. And this mode is known as the composition mode. Composition mode is the ultimate way to set up a distraction-free environment on your computer. When you activate composition mode, you immerse yourself in a full screen writing experience where all other distractions just fade away. In this mode, you're alone with your thoughts and your words. But with the full power of Scrivener's tools available at your fingertips if you choose to reveal them. You have the option to customize the font, background, text settings, and you can even create the perfect writing environment for your individual preferences. Plus, with features like focus mode and typewriter scrolling, you can even eliminate even more potential distractions and truly get in the zone. Now, let's dive in today. I'm going to show you the composition mode in action today. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open up Scrivener right here. Now, whether you're on a Mac or a PC, everything I'm going to share with you today is going to work for you. It's going to be essentially the same. We're going to open up Scrivener here. It's going to open up a new project window. Now, you may have heard me mention earlier the starter novel template. This is a free template for all subscribers to my newsletter. So if you'd like to get access to this, please I'll give you the link, ojevanson.com/links. But what we're going to do when Scrivener opens up, typically what you'll see is this getting started screen right here. That'll be the first thing to pop up with an interactive tutorial, our user manual, video tutorials, and so forth. If you're writing a novel, you can go down to the fiction section, get the novel template or the novel with parts, or you can use my awesome, great starter novel template to get started. And that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to go ahead and double click that to get started and give our project a name. And for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to give my project a name. I'm just going to call it my first novel, like so. And you can see I can save it in my desktop. Ideally, though, you're going to want to save that someplace you can easily find it. I recommend either in your documents folder, in a folder called Scrivener Projects, or if you want to save your projects in the cloud, you can certainly do so in Dropbox. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll click Scrivener Projects here. I'll click Create, and there we go. That pops up, and we have our first project ready to roll and to go on it. With this little template comes a little activation guide that tells you how it works, what it's all about. It's pretty short and simple to the point. The main thing we want to do is look, hey, how do I get started writing? How do I get this novel finished? How do I get to composition mode? It's really easy to do. First, I'm going to open up to my chapter here, go to my scene, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the composition mode right here in the top right corner of my toolbar right there. If I can't find this for any reason, what I'll do is I'll go to the help menu. I'll go to the search bar and type in composition mode. And there it is. Enter composition mode under view, enter composition mode. If you're new to Scrivener, you don't know anything about it, that little help menu is your best friend. Even me, I've been using Scrivener for 15 years now, and I still use the help menu to find things. It's just so much quicker to search that up than it is to go trying to find it there. So let's go ahead and click enter composition mode, and boom, here we are. It gives me this little warning here saying, hey, typewriter scrolling is already enabled. And I'll show you what that is. I'm gonna click OK. If you don't want to see that message, just click don't ask again. But there we go. You can see how it just blocked everything out now. I can see this really, really well. Looks really nice. Okay. So some things I can do from here, I can increase the text scale. So let's type in some words here. My first novel, right? Like that. So right now we're at a zoom level of, I think about 150. Sorry, the zoom bar here is in my way. I can't see the text scale, but let's go about 200%. That's typically my favorite zoom level. I can adjust the paper position to the left or to the right. I can even increase the paper width and make it wider, take up the whole screen, or kind of shorter. Personally, I like it somewhere in the middle so I can kind of see it. You know, I'm not looking to the left, I'm not looking to the right, I'm looking at the center of the screen. And if I go, I also have access to all Scrivener's great tools through the inspector here. I have the synopsis and notes, keywords, bookmarks, custom metadata, comments and footnotes, all sorts of fun things there. But the important thing is that while you do have access to them, you don't have to have them. You can have them just kind of stored away, available to you. I can easily navigate to anywhere I want into my project by going to Go To and going to other sections of my project here. Even have my focus mode, my typewriter scrolling, and keywords. I can even fade the background in and out here to the side if I really want to. But personally, I like to leave that faded out, focused, so I can just get writing. So let's take a look at what the focus mode might look like. One thing I will say about the focus mode for PC users, this is not a feature we have available yet on PC, so stay tuned for that. But right now for you Mac users, I wanted to show this to you. We can focus a line like that. You see how it everything kind of disappears after that. We can focus a sentence. So it just focuses a sentence. And we can focus on, oops, sorry, here my dock is getting in the way. We could focus a whole paragraph as well. So if we have multiple paragraphs, let's just take a look at this. You can see whatever paragraph I have selected is the one that's going to kind of pop out there. So kind of a nice little feature if you really want to narrow in on a specific line, sentence, or paragraph that you're working on. And that's composition mode in a nutshell. Honestly, this is just the perfect distraction-free writing environment. So let's go ahead and transition back to our presentation. And I can see there's lots of chat stuff going on in the chat, lots of things going on, so bear with us. We'll try to look at those when we have a minute here. There we go, maybe. Okay, perfect. Okay. And if there's any questions about any of the tools I covered, if you want to go deeper into any of these things like the typewriter mode, I didn't talk about that much. If you're interested in those kind of things, let me know at the end. We'll take a closer look. Okay, so step 2. Let's talk about setting challenging, realistic writing goals. Now, writing is a journey that should be enjoyed, right? But it's really easy to get lost in a particularly challenging chapter or scene. Setting clear targets or writing goals is essential to stay on track and motivated. Now, by setting realistic and yet challenging goals for ourselves, it can help you make meaningful progress towards your objectives. However, what are challenging yet realistic writing goals? I mean, what are they? How do I set a goal that is both challenging and realistic? How do I cross that barrier, so to speak. Now, should I set goals for words, characters, pages, time spent, or something else entirely? Over the years, I've set a lot of writing goals, and I've created entire spreadsheets with custom macros to keep track of my progress and so much more. But I've found that simplicity is often more effective in the long run than some complicated Excel spreadsheet that you've created. Ultimately, what you track really depends on where you're struggling. Now, Scrivener simplifies this writing goals for your project by providing with powerful yet simple tools. And this is how I do it. Personally, for each project, I set a deadline, I set a project target, I automate a session target that says to say, hey, how much do I need to actually hit to reach my goal? And I also set up automated document targets so I can have an idea of how close I'm getting to my document targets or to my chapter and scene goals. And once I set these up once, I kind of just forget about them and leave them alone. I'll periodically adjust them as needed, and then I'll just keep an eye on them and make sure things are looking good and I'm consistently progressing in the direction I want to go. Typically, if I'm not, then there needs to be an adjustment that needs to be made. And I found that just by regularly checking on my progress and making the necessary adjustments, I'm able to consistently achieve my writing goals. So once again, we have deadlines. We're going to look at setting a project deadline, targets, how to set writing goals directly in Scrivener, how to set project targets, session targets, and document targets. And the big thing for me here is I want to reduce effort as much as possible. I want this to be really simple for me. If I'm having to go and change a bunch of things and do a bunch of work, then guaranteed I'm not going to do it. And that's the best part of about this whole thing is that once I set it up, it's really easy to just kind of forget about it. I do it once, I really don't have to do much else again. Let's take a peek and do it together right now. Okay, boom. Let's go ahead and close that out. And let's go ahead and set a project deadline. How do we go ahead and do that? It's a really good question. So right now you can see here, I have targets right here. If I can't find this guy in my toolbar, where I'll go is to go to project, show project targets. And that's where the majority of our deadlines and targets and writing goals live inside Scrivener. Now, of course, if you're not using Scrivener, you could write these on a piece of paper, you could put them somewhere, but I just love how Scrivener kind of takes that off my plate. I can literally just let Scrivener handle this portion for me. So I'm going to open up the project targets there. And you can see right now I have no target. Let's assume that I have a target of, I write fantasy novels, so I'm looking anywhere from 80 to 100,000 words. I'm going to go ahead and go with 100,000 because I tend to go a little bit over. And we'll go with that. I write epic, so epic tends to be a bit longer. So I got 100,000 words, and right there, that's my target. I can come in here at any time. I could change that to 80,000. I could change that to 50,000. I could do whatever I want here for my manuscript target here. But I'm going to go ahead and go with 100,000 words, okay? And I just type that in there and hit enter. Now, my session target is a little bit different. While this one, I'm working towards a whole manuscript or a whole series, as the case may be, whatever that target may be. In the session, I'm focusing on my writing session. How many words do I want to write for every writing session? Now, I'll be honest with you. Typically, I've just looked at my numbers. I'm averaging about 750 to 800 words per writing session. So I could literally just go in there, type that in, and that could be my consistent writing session. And I could just have it be that way. And I could just write on the days I write that amount. And when Scrivener will notify me when I reach that goal. But it's also a good idea to automate this process. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to options. We're going to see how we could do that. So first off, to automate this, we have to actually turn on a deadline. So we're going to click this right here, turn on our deadline, and we're going to set a date. Okay. Now, in this case, if we wanted to finish by the end of the year, let's take a look and see what we need to do. And you may want to give yourself a buffer here. Buffers are great. You know, if maybe you want to end by the end of the year, but it might be a good idea to say, hey, I'm going to try to end like maybe on the 20th, a couple days, 5 days before Christmas or something, right? So you give yourself a little bit of a buffer there, and you could work towards that 20th and give yourself some time. So let's give it a try. Let's see what it will look like if we do that. I'm going to turn on show target notifications. That'll let me know, give Scrivener permission to notify me when I reach my targets. And then when I go to my session targets here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up to automatically calculate from the draft deadline. Okay, so I'm going to choose this right here. And then I can actually choose, I want to allow writing on the day of the deadline. So if you want to write on the day of the deadline, you can select that button there. And I need to choose my writing days. Now, if you don't choose any writing days, it's going to assume you're writing every single day. Okay. But if not, if you're only writing maybe Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or you're only writing on Tuesday and Thursdays, you want to select those days. So let's take a peek. Let's say typically I write Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in the mornings for like an hour. And so on Sunday and Saturday, I don't write on weekends. That's just me personally. Okay. Probably going to be different for you. We'll click OK and see what that looks like. So in order for me to do that, if I wanted to write 100,000 words from zero, right? Okay, this is from zero. I would need to write 3,846 words per day. And that's the automation I'm talking about. It's already set up to tell me how many words I need to write by the end of the year. I'd have to write that many words per day. Now that's way over my allotment, but hopefully most of you are well beyond that point. You're probably, 50, 60, 70, 80,000 words, or maybe you've even written your draft. And so when you set that up, it's going to be a little bit different. Okay. But you can just see that automation is really easy to set up. It's really easy to do. And for example, let's take my current draft and let's drop that in there. So I have a draft that I'm working on. I'm going to drop it into this project here so we can kind of see what this might look like. Okay. I think I'm just gonna take like half of my novel here and drop it in here into my series folder. So we're gonna do that right there. I'm gonna drag and drop this over. In case you were wondering, you can drag and drop information from one Scrivener project to another just like this. We'll make that bigger. You can see it's got all my notes and things carried over with me. Kind of cool. And let's close this out real quick. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So that's a little bit more reasonable. If I had written 60,000 words so far and I still wanted to reach that 100,000 goal, that's how many words I'd have to write Monday through Friday between now and the 20th to achieve my goal. And maybe if I'm looking at that and saying, hey, that's still a bit too much for me, I can switch that over to the 31st. Let's see what that looks like. 1,207. That's a little bit better, still a little high for me. So I could even look again and say, okay, maybe I need to include every day. Oh, there we go. That's more my writing speed, right? So I can kind of look at the numbers and kind of make the decision what makes sense for me. So if I wrote 847 words a day for the next 47 days to the end of the year, I could finish my 100,000 word goal target. So pretty easy, pretty simple, but very robust and powerful. And the best part is I don't have to think about it again. I've set that up. It's closed. I'm ready to go ahead and just get to work. And as I work towards that writing session, I'll get notifications from Scrivener letting me know it's done. Now, I did talk a little bit about, we talked about deadlines. We got a deadline set up right there. We've got our project target set up. We have our session target set up. So what was that I talking about for document targets? Now, if you come down here to my template sheets, and these are included with the starter novel template. You can only get these with the starter novel template. Right here, we have a chapter template and we have a book template. Now, the chapter template is the one I'm most interested in because you can see here, I've included a target here, 750 word target and 1,150 word target. And the reason I picked those two numbers is because typically, for some reason, I tend to write about 750 words per session, and I also tend to write about 1,250 word scenes. Now, it's not a hard, fast rule. Scenes vary in size, some from being really short to incredibly long, but I use that as a base. And so anytime I create a new chapter, let's say I came over here and I wanted to create a new chapter in Inkhome, or maybe, in Inkhome here, I go to this little button right here, and I could click the chapter template. It would pull that chapter up, and then the best part is guess what? It's already got the target set up for me right here. You can see if I write inside right here, it says I have 2 out of 750 words. I know it's really small. I wish I could zoom that in for you, but right down here at the bottom, we can see we have a target with 2 words written, 750 words, and it'll even have a little progress bar right here. And if I need to, if I feel like, hey, this 750 words is too little, I can come here, I can quickly change that. But the best part is it's already kind of set up for me. I don't have to think about it. The target is already there. If I need to make changes, I can, but it's automated. That's the big thing. I don't have to come here every time I create a new chapter, a new folder. I don't have to come and reset that target. It's already set up. And that's a big key to this. If you really want to improve your productivity, be able to just keep things going and use the tools in Scrivener, a lot of it is just setting it up once so you don't have to think about it again. Because if you have to do more work, I guarantee you, you're not going to do it. Okay. Well, that is setting challenging yet realistic writing goals in Scrivener. Let's jump back to our presentation here and move on to step 3. Okay, now this is the one I get really excited about. I'm all for designing systems. And I know some people are going to look at me and say, hey, Oliver, being creativity is not about designing systems and yada, yada. I'm like, you know what? It is. It is, because when you design a powerful system, or a powerful habit, as it's often called, you basically give yourself a way to write even when you are unmotivated, you don't feel like it. Somehow you can still put yourself in the zone and get writing done. So with distractions eliminated and targets set, you're well on your way to creating a powerful writing system that will help you achieve your writing goals. However, no matter how realistic your goals may be or how focused you become, you're still going to need that system that ties it all together. Now, otherwise, really over time, you're going to find yourself unmotivated and unable to continue writing because you haven't installed a habit that keeps you writing during the good times and the bad times. So your system must serve three primary purposes. First, it must help you develop a consistent writing habit by aligning it with your schedule. So often we try to interject writing into the schedule at times that just don't make sense for us, but we're like, I want to make this a habit, I want to do it, but it's not fitting, it's not working. We have to find a way to make it align with our already existing schedule. It puts focused, productive, and it must put you in a focused, productive, and creative mindset so you can write effectively. If your system doesn't help you get focused, doesn't help you get productive, doesn't help you get creative, probably the most important one of all, then it's not doing its job. That system isn't serving you. It's not going to help. It's not going to help you get your writing done. And last but not least, it's flexible enough to adapt and change as your life demands. And this is something that I really struggled with probably a lot. The first, I would say, right after college, about 5 years after college, I was really struggling with this. I'm very much of a planner, and for me to say, hey, I have to be flexible. I mean, things might change. That was really tough for me to understand, but it's important. You have to be adapt. Life change, seasons of life come and go. Things are going to be different from day to day, but we have to be able to be willing to adapt and change as needed. We can find structure despite and still be flexible. Okay. Now, if your system fails to achieve these crucial goals, it won't work. It simply will not work. So today I'm going to share with you what works for me specifically, but these tactics are the minutia. Ultimately, you need to make the adjustments to find what's really going to get you in the writing zone. So let's begin. Let's talk about setting a writing schedule. Okay. Now, goals don't do as much good if we haven't actually blocked out time in our schedule to write. I know everyone has a different schedule and has varying controls over your schedule, but if you want to write, then you're going to have to take control of the time that is yours to manage. And that's really difficult to do. I know it's hard, but you can do it. Now, I'm fortunate enough to have a very flexible schedule. However, my 4 kids and their school schedules ultimately still form the core structure of my daily life. So when I created my writing system, I was looking for a time that I could consistently hit again and again with this little effort as possible. And that's the key there, with this little effort as possible. If I have to work hard to do it, I'm probably not going to do it. Now, I aimed personally to spend about 30 to 60 minutes each day writing, typically in the morning, because that's the time I have the most energy and drive to write. Now, I also have a pretty regular routine that I keep with my kids. So every morning, what I do is I take my older kids to school, and then immediately after, I take my 2 younger kids. They accompany me to the gym, where I'm fortunate to get 2 hours of childcare as part of my membership. And you're going to have to look for little nuggets and things like that, especially if you have kids. If you have kids, you're going to have to get real creative with your time. Now, during that time, I spend about 30 to 60 minutes of that 2 hours writing each day. Now, maintaining and starting this habit was particularly easy for me because I stacked it on top of an already existing habit of going to the gym every weekday morning. So bear in mind, here's some caveats here. If I'm sick or one of my kids gets sick, that can impact my writing time. And the main thing I want to stress about this is it doesn't have to be perfect, and it's probably going to change over time. In fact, I'm already in the middle of a transition again. I've stopped going to the gym, and so I've had to create a new system around this now. But it's actually really easy to do once you know how to do it. So the key is that you can make the change when the change needs to be made, and maintaining this kind of flexibility will make it easier for you when change inevitably comes, because it will come. If there's one constant in life, right, it's change. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is finding locations, okay? And this was a big one for me. Finding locations that inspire you, and then actually spending time writing there to see, hey, is this gonna work for me? Can I actually write here and work here? Now, I've been writing at the gym for so long that as soon as I enter the building, it kind of behaves like an actual writing trigger. Once I arrive, I'm almost immediately in the zone to write. You can and should develop multiple locations that get you in the zone to write, that invite the muse, so to speak. Now, ideally, you should aim to get so flexible that you can write just about anywhere. That's the goal. That's where we want to end up. But for starters, it's really helpful to find places that really inspire you. And if you're feeling particularly blocked, a change of scenery can really have a huge impact on your creativity. Now, I can and do work from my home office where I'm at right now. It's a space that I have actually cultivated to be an outstanding writing zone. I've been really intentional about it. But as often as possible, I still like to get out of the house and go somewhere that isn't home. The gym lobby in our town happens to be really spacious and beautiful and actually surprisingly inspiring. You wouldn't think a gym would be very inspiring, but it actually is. And that definitely factored into my decision to write there in the mornings. You could also go and find similar inspirational locations such as a local park, a mall, or other nearby location. Don't be shy. Get out there, explore, see what's in your area. Now, one final thought on location, since we're aiming to make this a habit. These locations should be easy to add to your existing daily routine. That's the habit stacking I was talking about. Ideally, if you're already going someplace, if you can kind of stack it on top of that, it makes it a lot easier to keep that habit going. Now, if it's already part of your routine, great, use it. And if it's not, try to see if it can naturally segue or come into that routine without much effort on your part. Now, remember, the gym worked really well for me because it was already part of my daily schedule. Now, your writing tools, gather your writing tools together. Next, that's really the next thing you need to do is make sure you have the writing tools that you need and use for your writing sessions. Now, if you're on the move, make sure you have your trusty laptop equipped with your favorite writing app. In case you hadn't noticed, mine is Scrivener. I highly recommend it. In my opinion, it's still the best writing app on the market, hands down. Now, I also love to have a small little notebook with me. In fact, I keep this thing, let me show you, in my pocket all the time. It's right here. Got a little pen with it. I read it. I record all my thoughts to come in here. It's so handy to just have a little notebook to have handy. Sometimes it's hard to, I don't want to pull up my phone because my phone will distract me. I pull out that notebook, I write something down, and then guess what? When I have Scrivener pulled up for a session, I type it in and I use those ideas. I kind of skim through my notebook. There's just something about writing in a notebook that makes me feel more like a professional writer. And those are the kind of things you want to find. What makes you feel like I'm a novelist, I'm an author, I'm a writer? Whatever it is, find those things, incorporate them into your system. And for me, that's just one of the little things that gets me in the zone to write. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is inviting the muse to get you in the zone, so to speak, to get you in that writing zen mode, right? Now, if you can master the art of getting into the zone, the writing zone, you can write anytime, anywhere. This is a powerful skill to master. And believe it or not, it is a skill. A lot of people would have you believe that writing is kind of this mystical thing that you can only do when you feel like you're in the mood and you have the muse with you. It's just not true, guys. It's just not true. I mean, yes, it is helpful to have that desire to write. It is powerful to do, but you can do it both ways. And as before, I want to reiterate, what works for me may not work for you. So you need to consider these tactics and ponder what will be most effective for your writing system. Remember, you're creating your own thing. You got to find things that get you in the zone. But still, there are some things that I think are pretty universal that you may find useful. Now, to invite the muse into my writing sessions, I've compiled a variety of music playlists to keep me inspired. And this is something I often have tried to share with people, but I've found wildly that people have very different opinions on music, which is totally okay, right? So if you're subscribed to a streaming service, you do you. Get your music that you like, pull it out, whatever inspires you, create that writing music playlist and listen to it. In fact, I turn it on and it really helps me get into the zone. It gets me writing. And I've often found that when I truly start writing, when I really get in it, the music kind of just starts to fade away. I even forget it's there, but its purpose has been achieved. It gets me where I need to be. Now, if you're really serious, you might even invest in a dedicated audio player. If you've ever heard of those DAPs, before the iPhone, before anything else, we used to have iPods, right? Those still exist, right? They still exist. And I actually recommend them because they don't have all the nasty notifications and things on it. And when you plug it in and put it on, you're disconnected from the regular world. So check those out. Those are great. More and more, I'm seeking devices that really excel at a single task rather than using a smart device that is designed to capture and hold my attention for hours at a time. Okay. And of course, snacks and drinks are also helpful to have handy. I aim to keep it healthy with things like carrots and celery and some peanut butter and ranch and stuff like that. Maybe some carbonated water. That's my jam. My goal is to eat food that will ultimately energize me, help me stay in the zone. I don't really consider them rewards for good writing. However, if I've had a particularly good writing session, I might buy a soda or a treat to celebrate. Who doesn't, right? it's it's fun to reward yourself from time to time. Don't go overboard though, okay? This tactic is going to be highly dependent on you and what you like. So I just encourage you to consume snacks and drinks that ultimately leave you a happier, healthier, and more energetic human being. Okay. And last but not least for our writing system, this is a big one. Break up your writing sessions. Okay. The final element in my writing system is using regular breaks and timers. I recommend setting a timer between 15 to 30 minutes and taking anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes breaks between sessions. Since I block out about an hour for writing, I typically do something like this. I'll write for 20 minutes and then take a 5-minute break. And I do this 3 times, each with those 5-minute breaks. And if you factor if you do the math and all that stuff, I'm not a math whiz, but if you do that, it's about 75 minutes total. So I'm about 15 minutes over my 60-minute time, but still, I think it's reasonable. And personally, I do like doing longer sessions, 20 to 25 minutes, because once I get started writing, I loathe stopping. The muse is with me. I'm feeling the adrenaline rush. I'm excited to write, and then the timer goes off. I'm like, no, I don't want to stop. It's kind of like trying to plug a dam that's burst open, right? But that said, please, please, please take your breaks. It's good for your health. I actually have repetitive strain injuries because I type so much. So don't be like me. Take the break. It's worth it. It's good for your health. It's your eyes, your hands, your wrists. All of it will thank you. It's good for your entire body. It's also good for your creativity too, believe it or not. Our brains actually fatigue a lot quicker if we just keep going, if we don't take any breaks. But if we pace ourselves, we ultimately will be more successful in the additional and upcoming writing sessions that we take. Okay. Now, recognize that even that times, even when you have done everything right, sometimes you just can't get in the zone. Something's happening in life. Maybe a friend passed away or something, something to just kind of tear you down. Or maybe you're just not feeling it today. That's okay. Okay. Give yourself permission to just take a break. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay to just take a day off. That's fine. When you have a system set up like this, you can afford to take those kind of breaks because you've set yourself up for success already. And one thing I'll say too, it is also okay to write even when you don't feel inspired. Give yourself permission to write badly. It's okay to write bad, okay? I think we've all done it. I do it all the time, okay? Perfectionism is really just another form of procrastination, and that one really ate at me for years and years and years. Can you believe I rewrote the same 5 chapters over 5 years? And I can't believe I did that. It was a total waste of time. Don't do it. Just don't worry about being perfect. Just strive for excellence and you'll get there. So yeah, there we go. Okay. Let us move on to step 4. We got 2 more steps and then we're going to turn the time over to Ramona. Ramona, what are you thinking so far? You have any thoughts before I move on to step 4 here?
I mean, it's really helpful. I was just going to drop a note. There's
Yeah.
a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And I
Great.
think everything that Oliver is listing really aligns with that. Like, yes, Scrivener, I'm a newbie to Scrivener as well, so I think I'm like many of the people watching this. But it sounds like it's a great tool to help you build those habits. And I'm sure, I don't know, Oliver can confirm, are there like tutorials built into Scrivener to show people and remind them how to go through all the steps that you listed earlier?
Yeah, so there, we have tons and tons and tons of free resources available, and you may also be aware that we put on webinars every month. So I'm doing webinars like this every month where we really dig deep into the basics. So for people who are just want to know the fundamentals, just the core, how do I get started, simple stuff, quick start, stuff like that. We do that all the time. We have that available for you. The resources are there. So if you're ever feeling lost, just email me, email our technical support team, go to our website. All the resources are there. And I'm going to have all those resources available here at the end too for anyone who's having lots of questions about that. I know I'm kind of like dabbling a little bit in Scrivener and a little bit in like the writing here. I'm kind of moving back and forth, so I can understand that there's a lot of questions about like what is Scrivener, what's going on here. Don't worry, we'll get you taken care of.
It has a
Thank you,
lot of
Ramona.
cool
Appreciate
features
that.
though, so
Yes,
I'm ready to
yes.
hear
Oh
more.
man. So many. I love it. And I can't wait to share more with you guys. Okay. Well, let's talk about getting and giving feedback. Okay. Now, giving good feedback is really important if you want to become better at your craft. For a long time, I'm a very much a recluse. At least I used to be, and maybe not so much anymore. But I was afraid to share my writing with anyone. I didn't want to get out of my little bubble. But ideally, if you want to be a better writer, I mean, you're going to have to share it with someone eventually. And so, if you need to get good at offering good feedback and also receiving good feedback. Now, bear in mind that you also want to be the kind of person, that gives good feedback. That's a skill you can learn and cultivate. But first, you need to find a good group of peers to write with. Okay. Now, joining or forming a solid writers group or partnership. Now, there are loads of writing groups out there that you can join that are just a Google search away. So feel free to shop around until you find one that really works for you. And I'd encourage you to look local as well. There's something nice about meeting with fellow writers in your area in person. You might even consider starting that group yourself if one doesn't exist. My writers group, I met them all. I met them in college. I was fortunate to meet some really great writers in college, and we meet pretty regularly and just talk. Sometimes it's just shooting the breeze, getting familiar. Getting familiar, seeing how everyone's doing. Stuff like that can be really supportive and really great for writers. So now, while large groups do have their advantages, I recommend that you seek out individuals as much as possible for one-on-one collaborations. Substack's a great place to meet writers and things like that. If you guys are not familiar with that, Substack.com, there's tons of writers on there, and they're more than happy to work with you and talk to you. And it's just this really collaborative and great environment. I love it. Now, my writers group, like I said, has always been kind of an intimate with only 4 members, but I've recently discovered that I'm even more productive when I can meet individually with a colleague to exchange and discuss our writing. So oftentimes I'll set up little calls with someone in my writers group or someone I've met, and we'll just talk and say, hey, you read some of my work, I'll read some of yours, and we just kind of talk and shoot the breeze and kind of figure out what we need to, like what's wrong, what's going well, where the problems are. And I know it's really scary to put yourself out there, but be brave. That's what being brave is. It's doing it scared, right? Now, good feedback is essential to improving your craft, and having a group of people who can support and encourage you on your writing journey is invaluable. Plus, having another set of eyes on your work can help you catch mistakes or offer fresh perspectives that can improve your writing. So don't be afraid to reach out and connect with other writers, whether it's through an online group or in-person meetups. Just be wise. As always, whenever we give advice about meeting with people, if you don't know these people, you do need to be careful, right? So just be mindful. Try to meet with people if you can that but don't be afraid. There are lots of great writers and lots of great people to connect with in this world. I highly encourage it. Now, in terms of exchanging writing, how do you give good feedback? That's really hard, and it's harder than you think. And now I've been critiquing and editing manuscripts for years now, and I still struggle sometimes to articulate what's good and what's bad about a particular piece of writing. And the good news is this is a skill that anyone can learn. And so here are my top 5 tips when giving feedback to a fellow writer. Number 1, I recommend you be specific and objective. Point out particular sections or elements of the book that really resonate with you. They're like, hey, I love this, and this is why I love this. Be as specific as you can. That can be really challenging to do, but the more specific you can be, the more you can articulate why something is good and maybe why something is not so good. Try to avoid being super vague, like, oh, I didn't like this part. It's not really helpful. If you're going to be vague, the vague I would say is, hey, this was just confusing. I didn't understand this. That comes across a lot better than saying, hey, I didn't like that. That seems kind of like, oh, that hurts a little bit when someone says that. So say, yeah, I was just confused. Can you help explain this to me so I understand it better? And identify specific reasons, such as if it's setting consistency. Maybe I couldn't see the setting. Maybe we're missing some concrete details, or it's too abstract. I don't know what's going on. Or maybe I'm like, I don't know what your character's doing. Why is your character doing this in this character? What's his motivation? Where is he going? Right? Stuff like that can really, really, really be helpful. I'd also balance, number 2, balance positive and negatives. Make sure you're committing strengths as much as you're pointing out areas for improvement. This is really important for the morale of your writers group. If you're just constantly always pointing out like, hey, you need to work on this, work on this, work on this, that can be really, really hard to hear all the time, So we have to look for those strengths and the areas of improvement. This balanced approach not only encourages but also instills confidence in your peers, highlighting what they're doing while addressing aspects that still need work. And yes, I know some of this could definitely be an editor's work, so we don't have to go too crazy with it. These are just some tips to help you guys out when you're offering some critiquing, some feedback, and things like that. Now, one thing I like to do too is number 3 is offer constructive solutions. Now, when I identify weaknesses, I offer actionable solutions to help the writer improve their work. But I want you to keep in mind that when you're offering solutions, your role isn't to solve their problem. That's the writer's job, but rather to provide starting points for them to develop their own ideas. So this, you might say, hey, you might try to fix it this way or this way, and that might give them just enough ideas to get the ball running to say, hey, I don't like that idea, but maybe I could do it like this. And I love that. That happens to me a lot, where I get a couple ideas from someone, and I'm like, no, those don't quite resonate, but I see where you're going with that, and now I'm gonna try this instead and see if that works. And oftentimes the solution presents itself. Number 4, understand the author's intent. So take time to comprehend your fellow writer's goal and vision for their book by asking good questions. Okay, so this is really important. Good questions. I love questions. Questions are like the heart and soul of like learning. Okay, understanding, communicating with each other. And then when you've asked good questions, you kind of understand their vision, their goal for their book. That allows you to tailor your feedback to help them realize that vision. Say, hey, if you're trying to do X, Y, and Z, this, A, B, and C might help. Or you're sorry, I got those back. If you're trying to do A, B, C, then the X, Y, and Z might help you accomplish that, right? So offering guidance while respecting their unique voice and style. And last but not least, I'm going to say practicing empathy and respect. There's something deeply, deeply intimate about and intensely personal when we share a piece of our writing with someone. This is a serious business. And so when we critique anyone, we should approach that critique with empathy and respect, being mindful of the effort and the emotion poured into that work. A respectful tone fosters a positive and supportive environment that encourages creativity and growth. And I'm sure by adhering to these simple principles, you can provide feedback that uplifts and encourages fellow writers rather than disheartening them, right? Okay, so the last thing I had to say about we've talked about giving feedback. Let's talk about receiving or getting feedback. Now, receiving feedback is as crucial as giving it. And while sharing your work can be daunting, embracing diverse perspectives is invaluable. Good feedback offers new insights and can highlight blind spots, enhancing your manuscript's depth and clarity. So with openness and a willingness to learn, peer critique can refine your writing and sharpen your craft. Okay. Now, I see so many writers struggle receiving feedback. I used to be one of them. Even to this day, sometimes I get that little ping like, oh, that hurt. Why did you say that? Even when they weren't even intending it. I get it. Our writing is so close to our heart. It's painful to hear that it needs work. But remember that feedback is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to improve and view the world from a new perspective. And oftentimes it's not a personal attack on you as the writer. It's not. It's feedback that's intended to help you improve your story. And even if someone is like going out of their way, trying to make you feel bad, I always remind myself that my writing is not for everyone. And that's okay. It's okay that there are going to be people that don't like my writing. That's normal. What matters is that I continue to grow and improve as a writer with each critique I receive. So my recommendation, be a fly on the wall. Okay. Don't offer explanations. Don't defend your work. Listen carefully on what's being said. Take notes and then concisely answer any questions you receive from your peers. You don't have to agree with or implement every suggestion. Just be open to new perspective and ideas, and always thank your peers for their time and effort in helping you improve. Above all, stay open-minded and embrace the opportunity to grow as a writer. Okay, guys, we're on to our last step. Okay. And with the last 4 steps under your belt, you will have all the tools you need and a system set up to finish your book. This last step exists to help you get your work out of Scrivener and into the world. Now, Scrivener includes a robust compiler or exporter, which will help you take your writing and output it into various formats, including printing it, if you just need to print it out so you can write on it by hand and share it with somebody, Microsoft Word, PDF, and more. And Scrivener even includes some standard manuscript formats to get you started on the right foot. And correct me if I'm wrong, Ramona, you typically accept manuscripts in Microsoft Word. Is that right?
Yeah, we want it in Microsoft Word.
Perfect. So if you're going to do that, I'm definitely going to show you guys how to use Microsoft Word. So when we transition it over to BookBaby, they can get that taken care of. And that's the format you're going to want to give it to them. Okay. So here we go. Let's do it. Boom. Maybe, oops, wrong place. Sorry, guys. Okay, so here we go. We've got let's say we're in our book here. I'm actually just going to change this from a series to a manuscript. We're going to call it the Mark of the Shadows. This is our manuscript folder. And so I have a manuscript inside it. I'm going to go ahead and delete this guy. Sorry, I'm going a bit fast here. Just cleaning this up real quick. Okay, so we have Mark of the Shadow. That's my manuscript folder. And this is my manuscript so far. These 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. Inside each part, I have a chapter. Inside the chapter, I have a scene or multiple scenes as the case may be. So if I wanted to export this out, either to share with a fellow peer, an editor, or with a self-publishing company like BookBaby, it's really easy to do. What I can do is I can come over right here to the compile button in the top right corner of my toolbar. If that is not there for any reason, we can go to File, Compile, and click that button right there as well. You can see this little window will pop up, and this is actually really simple. We have a couple different formats of how this can appear when it is exported out of Scrivener. So I could do it as the default. The default, it just means that whatever formatting I have in Scrivener, whatever font and everything else is going to come out just how it appears in Scrivener. If I want to, though, I can use this handy dandy manuscript Times, which formats everything to Times New Roman and to the format of, what do you call it? Of a manuscript. Yeah, the traditional format for a manuscript here. So you can see here we have kind of a preview in the middle of what this will look like. The parts will look like this. Part 1 with the title of the document or the folder. The section, any section will have the section title plus any text that's associated with it. The chapter heading will have the chapter. In this case, it's just going to be chapter 1 with no title. I could change that, but let's go ahead and leave that alone. And then the scenes, you can see it's kind of highlighting it over here too. All the scenes will look something like this. Every time there's a scene break or a different document that's accounted in there, it'll break that with a pound symbol. And we can change these things. We can edit this format and all stuff like that. But really, honestly, you can leave that alone in most cases and just export just like this. And you can see if I want to compile for a specific output, I click this little drop menu right here and I can make my choice. Okay, so right there is the Microsoft Word. Go ahead and click that. And we're going to go ahead and click compile. It's going to compile my first novel. I can change it whatever I want. In this case, it's called Mark of the Shadow. We'll export that out there. You can see it's loading right down here. And it's as simple as that. My book is now out and ready to go. Put that over there. And right there, if I double click that, it'll open it up. I don't use Word very often. You can see it has my name. If I put in my author information in Scrivener, I can also put this, it could also auto-generate this information. In the event that I didn't like this, I can just come here and make these edits and changes. It gives me a word count, even has my novel name here. If I want to change that, I can change it in Word or I can change it in Scrivener. I'll show that in just a second. Here is part 1, Rise of the Shadow Mark, Point of Views, Ned, Revelo, and Nira. There's chapter 1. Just like that. And look how beautiful this looks already. Very simple. I didn't have to do anything really. It's just, I wrote it in Scrivener. I exported it out. Just like that. It has page numbering here. If I go all the way down, it goes all the way down to the bottom here. There it is. Even have my little asterisks there. Everything looking really neat and nice. There we go. Chapter 26. So the only change I might make here, if you're wondering, is I probably would come in over here and I go to my compile menu like this. I'm going to come in here to the metadata here. I'm going to change the title to Mark of the Shadow. Once again, I came to my compile menu here and I clicked this little metadata tab here, right there. Probably change the abbreviated title to I'm going to just call it Mark of the Shadow or MOTS, something like that. I could put the authors down as myself. If I have co-authors, I could write a co-author there too. And I also want to come over here to my section layouts. This is how we determine how our manuscript appears. So I could come to my chapter heading here. I could assign section layouts. I'm going to click chapter heading. Make sure this is a really important step. Make sure you click chapter heading. You can see it took us to the chapter 1. And I want chapter heading also to include the title of the folder. That's the section title right there. I'm going to click OK. So now when I scroll down here, you can see chapters are now going to have not only chapter 1, chapter 2, etc. It's also going to have the title of the folder or the chapter name. And so we leave that off by default in case you don't want to have those names coming out and you want to change them later, or you just don't have chapter names at all. But we can go ahead and do that, compile. We'll go ahead and do this number 2. We'll just put 2 there so we don't have 2 of them pulling out there. Load that up. There it goes. It's loading now. going to make this small. Just put it over there real quick. And then we're going to pull this up and see how it looks now. Okay, looking okay. Mark of the Shadow. You can see that changed by Oliver Evensen. So it added my name there as well. That still looks the same. And there we go. Now we have chapter titles there. Ivel the Ripper. I scroll down. Let's see if it's got. Go to chapter 2. Maybe we can just do this. Find chapter, and we'll just search from chapter to chapter 2, 3. You can see all those are there. In this case, there was no chapter for chapter 4, so I'll have to look into that. But in most cases, they'll all come out just fine. Usually when there's nothing there, it means that I didn't have anything written there. So that's okay. So there we go. That's it. So that's how you export a manuscript out. Let's look at that one more time. We can come over here to the compile menu there. You can go to the top left corner, click File, Compile. If you still can't find it for any reason, go to Help right here in the Help menu. If you're on a PC in particular, this is great for you. You can type and compile. It'll pull it right up for you. Hit return. Once again, you can choose any of these default formats. You can edit them if you want to by duplicating and editing them. You can just use the default if you want to, whatever makes the most sense for you. And then you can choose whichever output you want to do here. Print, PDF, rich text, Word, Open Office, etc., all the way down. Whoever you're sending it to often will determine what format you're sent to. So in this case, we're probably going to be sending it over to BookBaby, so we're going to want to give them that Microsoft Word document. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to switch back to the presentation. I have just one more thing, and I'm going to turn the time over to Ramona, where she can talk all about BookBaby and how that works here in just a second. That gets switched over. Perfect. So I just want to say congratulations. Hopefully by now you have completed your manuscript and that you're ready to get that published or shared with your beta readers for feedback. Now, it's no secret that Scrivener can take your manuscript from 0 to publish, but those final steps to publication can be particularly tricky to manage alone. And that's why we've partnered with BookBaby today to show you how they can help you take your manuscript from finished to published. And so now I'd like to turn the time over to Ramona, a senior publishing specialist from BookBaby, to tell you more about their services and how they can help you navigate the publishing process. Ramona, over to you.
Thanks, Oliver. I appreciate that. Let me see if I can share my screen now. Okay, perfect. So as you all know, it's already hard enough to write the story. And so after you're done, you're like, now what? Writing the book is hard, but there are a myriad of other tasks that you need to do to really turn it in from that polished manuscript or even that finished draft. And like Oliver said, all the valuable feedback you would have gotten from beta readers and more in your writing community. Now it's time to really transform that so that the general public can get it and you can be a published author. So that's where BookBaby comes in. You can self-publish with us. We have so many different services to really help you publish your book, from editing your book. We have many different services for that, different tiers. We have in-house designers to help you with cover design, with the layout, and we publish many different forms: hardcover books, paperback books, all genres, ebooks, audiobooks even. So, you might just be thinking, let's just get the printout for now, but there are so many other options built into that. And as you see, I was already listing some of the stuff. One thing I didn't list was distribution. We have a really expansive publishing platform. So once we help with designing the book and transforming it to all of that professional looking book, the cover, the inside layout, all those beautiful stylistic details, then you're going to start thinking about distribution. And this is where authors have to think of their book almost as a business even. And this is something that you're going to present, that you're going to really establish a brand, and this is a product that you're putting out there. And so we're going to help you get it to all of the major retailers. We have, just to name some of the major ones, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Walmart, and even wholesalers to get it into libraries, schools, other educational institutions, brick and mortar bookstores. But we help with that. We function as a liaison, so you don't have to figure out all this mystery of getting it to so many places. That's the thing, okay? You first write it, then you're like, I have no idea who to get it out with, who to trust. And BookBaby is a very reputable company. They have people like myself and other colleagues like myself that you can call. It's almost like you're building that friend network. And so you can call us just saying, okay, hey, this is my vision. This is what I want to do. How can I do it? And each project is different. And so I saw a lot of comments, people who are publishing nonfiction versus sci-fi fantasy, could be romance, or even a children's picture book. It's going to be different in how we approach it, but we are experts here in publishing and many genres and how to put it all together. And so we can help you figure out all of those fine details as you're doing it. Another great thing that we offer in addition to distribution is Bookshop. So Bookshop is our online storefront that's tied into BookBaby, but it has a lot of cool features as you're, like I said, thinking of your book like a brand. Our store offers features where you could even start collecting email addresses from people who are interested in your stories. Maybe they want to know when the next book is coming out because they love the first one so much and you got through that whole process. You know, you went from start in Scrivener to writing it to all the way through, let's say, BookBaby, and it is, online for everybody to purchase, right? So then when people are buying it, they can share their information. You can collect their emails. You can do special promotions in the holidays and create coupons. So there's many different things that you can do throughout the life of you continuing to promote your story. And then hopefully that inspires you to write more. Usually my conversations are with people where they might even say, you know what? I wanted to give writing a go. I really liked it. I wanted to publish this book, but I don't think I'll be publishing more. I just wanted to really see this through. And then they come back and say, you know what? I thought I just wanted to write one, but now I have the writing bug. I'm really working on a trilogy. So I usually find that, once you go through these steps and we help guide you, you really start to understand that the process isn't so daunting because you have someone there to help walk you through those stages. And so BookBaby is similar to Scrivener in the way that, we provide a lot of tools, but we also provide people that you can speak with to help refresh you on those tools and help you understand how to work them so that you can be proficient in being a published author. So um, that's some things. As you can see here, we have a demonstration of our equipment. We do all of our own printing. It's in-house. This is obviously we're printing a children's book here, and it's a roll-fed machine. But unlike a lot of companies, something about BookBaby, we're local, meaning we're in the US. We're not outside, we're not outsourcing. We're doing everything right here. So we really pride ourselves in being I think, one of the only digital printers that really can rival a larger offset printer that really prints great quality. Self-publishing in the past, I think, had a worse stigma where if you self-publish, you're not going to have a good quality book. It's going to look botched. We're not here to do that. We're here to make your book look so professional that you're rivaling a traditionally published book. And so we really want your book. Your book is as important to you, to us, as it is to you. We want you to have that great quality. We want it to be something that you're proud of. And we really, again, work hard to make sure that we do that by providing quality services, but also quality material. We are what's called G7 certified, and so we have the most optimal printing. We have great quality paper. We have real people behind the machine, so it's not just massive machines and nobody's keeping track of what's happening. So from every stage of you working with us, it's really people powered. Like everyone has their physical hands on your project to make sure that it runs smoothly. Because again, it's as important to us as it is to you. We want your book to be something that we're also proud of and say, hey, I'm just going to say Joe Schmo. We helped Joe Schmo publish his book, and usually authors are so proud. They send videos of unboxing, they send pictures of themselves at signings, and they really take it seriously and do well. And we love to see that, and we always show our support and really pushing that as well and sharing those stories that our authors share with us. Excuse me. So yeah, that's just a quick overview of some of the things that we do at BookBaby. As you know, we have quality books, we have an expansive network, we have a lot of great services and options to help you become a published author. We have these high quality machines to really help you get there. And we always guarantee our quality. We stand behind everything we do, and nothing's perfect. So if there were ever any situations, we always work with our author to always make sure that, we can make things right and we can get it to you quickly. So sometimes with traditional publishing, that's the dream, right? Everybody loves traditional publishing. It takes years. You can start today and an agent loves your book, and 2-3 years later, it's on the shelves. It takes a long time. And I don't know if, everyone's like me, but I'm impatient. I'm also a writer as well. I do sci-fi fantasy or just speculative literature. And, you want the book out there. And a lot of the authors that I speak with, they want it quickly, and we can deliver pretty quickly. Obviously, there are reasonable turn times. It's not going to be done within 24 hours, but we do make sure that we can deliver quality and we can do it pretty quickly as well. So that's another great thing. Somebody had questions about pricing, like how much does it cost to format my book? What I would recommend you doing, really encourage everyone, is to visit our website, which is bookbaby.com. Very easy. And we have a wealth of information. We have great guides. You can see pricing on all the different services. And we have a number. So if you call in, you might actually end up speaking with me. You might speak with one of my colleagues, but we have a lot of great services and options that you can take advantage of, and we'd be happy to help. I think that's you, Oliver. So
Perfect. Thank you
Asian.
so much, Ron. I appreciate that. And I just want to comment on that too, like this idea that you can get your book out like quicker than like a traditional publisher. Like, traditional I think there's a prestige that comes with traditional publishing, but there's just something about having that control, of the self-publishing does. And interesting enough, I've been doing my own research about traditional publishing versus self-publishing, and there's a lot of great information about that out there. And they actually recently did a study. I don't know if you're familiar with this, Ramona, at all, but they recently did a study that the Author Guild did, an earnings
Mm,
study. And admittedly, it was about a pool of about 5,000 writers. So we don't have everyone in the world participating in this. But one of the key takeaways of that study was that, while traditional publishing writers, they tend to make more money up front, over time, self-published authors actually tend to be more profitable. They tend because one, they have their own audiences. They're working on their marketing. They're moving. They're kind of moving up from initially they don't start making much at all, but over time they make more money, and that was a really big selling point for me in self-publishing. So I'm like, if you're willing to put in the time and effort and work, I think if you work with someone like BookBaby, they help you out. You could see some really pretty good returns over a longer period of time. Yeah, it's not going to be instantaneous, but you work hard. I think it'll pay. I know it'll pay off. Yeah. Anyway.
absolutely. Yeah. One of the things I just wanted to add, thank you for mentioning that, is, we do have some marketing options, but a lot of people have that same concern. Like, if I pay for these services up front, how is that going to benefit me? How am I going to make a profit? What does this mean for me? And what we found is that a lot of our authors break even. So I say you're really paying yourself back, and you're not losing anything when you pay yourself back. So at that point, which our prices are very reasonable, then it's just profit from there on. And you don't have to be a marketing genius. We have a lot of options and support to help you promote your book. But I just see that people who make an effort, it's one of those like atomic habits. Just keep going for it, keep pushing, keep doing what you can to spread the word, and that alone will get you more traction than just sitting there hoping someone will stumble across it.
So true. So true. Okay, well, we just got a few more things for you, and then we're gonna wrap it up with the Q&A. Let me dive right into our next one. There we go. So once again, I'd like to remind you all that we love connecting with you guys. It's really important that we have that opportunity to work with each other and to meet afterwards. So I highly recommend, one, that you reach out to BookBaby. I dropped those links in there, and go to their website and connect with them. And if you also would like access to my free starter novel template, you want to be part of the Turning Writers into Authors community, please join me today by subscribing to my email list at ojevanson.com/links. Now, of course, on top of that, you can also download Scrivener for free from our website and start experiencing the full benefits of Scrivener without any cost to you. With our 30-day non-consecutive free trial, you can progress through Scrivener at your own pace. So, for example, if you only use the app once a week, it means it could potentially last you up to 30 weeks. So check out that free trial. You can get that directly from our website via the download link there on the slide. I know you won't be disappointed. That's literatureandlatte.com/download. In addition to having the free trial, my free starter novel template, we have a webinar library full of outstanding presentations just like this one to help you get familiar with Scrivener and to help you with your writing needs. We have our user forum, user manuals, blog video tutorials, and so much more. So check those out. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me and let me know. Oops, wrong button. Okay, there we go. Now, if there are any links you guys need at the end, just let me know. I'll get those to you. Now we're on to our Q&A. Let's open the floor to any questions you may have. I saw there was a bunch in the Q&A. We'll look. Ramona and I will look at those together. I'm also happy to address any confusion or concerns regarding Scrivener, and I'm sure Ramona will be happy to help you with any questions related to BookBaby and their self-publishing services. So don't be shy. Ask away. Let's do this. Oh, before I do that, let me give you guys. These are some emails too. You can reach out to us if you need to. If you have questions about Scrivener or the webinars we do. Okay. Ramona, you ready for this?
I am, yes.
Okay, let me see what happened to my Q&A. We'll get started here. Okay, Q&A, there it is. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So, there are so many. Let me dismiss some of these and see. Uh, bu- 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 bu. So Charmaine's asking, how long has BookBaby been in operation, and how many books get published every year? I don't know.
Okay. So BookBaby has been around, oh my goodness, for about a decade now, but we do have a sister company that started off called Disc Makers, where they worked with independent musicians, and they've been around for almost 80 years. So that same
Ooh,
model of
wow.
helping creatives, they do vinyls, streaming music, USBs, but all those years of helping creatives, they thought, let's just translate that into book form. And so it's the same idea that's been working all those years, where we help authors. And what was the other question? What was the other portion of that question?
Oh, you know what? I just dismissed it.
Oh
Sorry.
no.
Um,
It was like, how long has BookBaby been in?
yeah, how long has BookBaby been in? Oh, let me see if I can find it. I think it's over here. At the top. I have all the dismissed questions. It's just gonna take me a minute to go through
Sorry.
it. No, you're good. You're good. I should have dismissed it
Yeah.
so early. Oh, how many books get published
Oh,
every
how many
year?
books? Okay, got it. Thank you. Someone else put that in the chat as
Yeah.
well. So I actually spoke with the head of our distribution department. I believe they told me just on our storefront alone that I believe somewhere around 40,000 books get published per month. So you can
Oh,
just
wow.
multiply that by the months. That's not including us sending it out to our retail partners. So there may be other numbers from Amazon and Barnes and Noble and other places, but that's just on our storefront alone.
Wow, that's incredible. I love
Mhm.
that. Okay, I'm gonna scroll up to the top. Let's see here. So, Latoya is asking, what's the best platform for a first-time author? And I'm wondering if by platform she means like where to sell the book. What are your thoughts, Ramona? Do you have any idea there?
Platform for first time author. I mean, I'm not sure. I think that can be interpreted in many ways. I think
Yeah,
one, a tool to use is, Scrivener is a great tool that Oliver was talking about.
yeah,
When it comes to finding a virtual writing community, there's so many options, but I hate to call
yeah.
it X, but Twitter, X, whichever you want to say, that's a place where you can find a writing community. There's probably other
That's true.
places. And
Yeah.
then,
I
yeah.
I'll shout one out right now. I'm on Substack right now, and I'm a big fan of Substack. It's not perfect, and there are pros and cons to it, but I think the thing I love most about Substack is, like I said earlier in the presentation, is that there is a huge community of writers just like you and me out there. And whether you post on Substack regularly or not, the community is real. Like, I feel like sometimes you go to Facebook and you just get like even in Twitter, it's just like, or X, you get lost in the shuffle. Like you don't feel like you're really connecting with anybody. But on Substack, there's a real dialogue of writers going on there, and I was surprised when I started doing it. I thought, oh, this is just another annoying platform, but no, it's really excellent. So I would highly recommend Substack. It's an exceptional. Okay, I think you already answered this one about it being formatted. In terms of costs, you just recommend they reach out to you directly, right? Go to the
Exactly,
website.
yeah.
Yep.
Each project
Okay.
is different. Just so you all know though, there is a limit to how many pages we can print in a book, and the limit is 840. So if you have a page count that's larger than that, that's a massive book anyway. You might want to consider breaking that into a few
Smaller
a
books.
few novels.
Yep. Yep.
Hmm.
No, I agree with you there. Yeah. It's rare. You do see, like, if you're like a Brandon Sanderson kind of person, I know he goes over into the
Yeah.
thousands sometimes. But yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah, shorter. People do people like short anyway, right?
Yeah,
It's
short and sweet.
short and sweet. Remember, I recall Tolkien was it, he wanted to publish the Lord of the Rings all in one massive volume. And they're like, nope.
Can
$3.
you imagine? My goodness.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would have been nuts. Okay. Okay, well, let's skip that one. Let's see here. Okay. I don't know if you'll know anything about that one. So I am gonna just there's one question here from Latoya. She's asking about when to bring on a co-author.
Mm.
I don't know if you have any thoughts about that, Ramona. I mean, really, for me personally, I think it depends on the project. Like I have a book that I am co-authoring with another writer, and we decided jointly that we wanted to write a book together. And so I don't know if there's a situation where I'd ever be like, hey, I'm writing a book and I wanted to bring on a new writer to help me finish it. But I guess every project is different, right? It's
Yeah.
gonna depend on you. I mean, I don't think there's any right or wrong time to do that. It's gonna be up to you. Do you have any thoughts, Ramona?
I think you were spot on with that. Like every
Yeah.
project is subjective, and you know, like you said, certain projects require a co-author. Sometimes it doesn't at all. So it's really a personal preference. We all have our different working habits and working styles. So if it makes sense to have a co-author, then go for it. And if it doesn't, that's also okay.
Yep. Yep. I agree.
Hmm.
And I know we addressed this one too, but someone is also asking, is it better to use a publishing house or an agent? Is that really necessary? Or can we be successful in the self-published route? And I think we should just reiterate that. That is totally possible to be very successful self-publishing. And
Absolutely.
I would even say that you could probably in some cases be more successful than some traditionally published authors for sure. And I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into
Hmm.
that, but I think it's definitely possible.
Absolutely. And there are a lot of well-known books out there that started off self-published. So I'm sure you know
Yep.
the author Andy Weir, The Martian. It's a movie now.
Yeah,
Matt
yeah.
Damon was in it. He was a self-published author before. So, you never know.
Yep. And honestly, I think that's for me personally, I think that's the best way to get out there right now. It's really hard. I mean, agents and editors often are looking for very specific books right now. And it really is hard with so many people submitting manuscripts to break into that. But what is really interesting about self-publishing is I mean, the great thing about self-publishing is that you market yourself, right? In a lot of cases, or you use a service like BookBaby. And when you start generating interest, the big five, those publishers, they're paying attention. They're
They
looking for
are.
people who are generating a lot of attention and interest, and they will happily gobble you up and like and grab you and give you a traditionally published deal at that point. So, in my opinion, self-published Hound is, in my opinion, the best route because you could still end up with a traditionally published deal down the road, you know.
Yeah.
But just because you get the deal doesn't mean you shouldn't keep plugging away. You need to keep plugging away. You know, writing is not just like a one-hit wonder where you just do it and you're in. It's a constant process of working, writing, and growing your business. It is a business.
Exactly. And it also, as far as that traditional versus self-publishing dilemma, like Oliver was saying, essentially it can help you skip the line maybe. So just
Yeah.
keep building those habits, writing those stories, publishing them, putting them out there. And, the more you write, the more experience you have. And yeah,
Yep. So true. So true. I see here is at least Luciana is saying, Wagner is saying, all the no feedback or no replies at all is really demoralizing for an unpublished author trying to get out there. Yeah, I agree. You know, if you're constantly hearing back, they don't, to be frank, if I were owned a publishing house, I would probably be in the same boat. You know, if people are sending me hundreds of manuscripts, I'd be like, I don't know. I don't have time, right, to reply to everyone and give you great feedback. And so good news is there are people like me out here who can help you, right? There are other editors like freelance editors. There are people like BookBaby. These services exist. So take advantage of them, use them. We're here to help, right? We're here to help you.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, but so Janet's asking, or she kind of stated it, but like, does BookBaby does formatting from Word files? Is that correct? Is that right?
Yes. So what we like is a Microsoft Word document just in the normal setup, the normal 8.5 by 11. And once you just have your content organized in the exact way that you want it, then we can take it from there. Even if we're editing it, we want you to give it to us in the best way that you're envisioning, and then we can help you do the rest, whether it's polishing the content or transforming it into an actual book.
Yep. Perfect. Okay, I'll go ahead and do that one. Okay, perfect. So Kimberly has here a question about Scrivener. I'm just going to answer that real quick. So she's asking, so all the changes you are making in the composition mode are just changes in your display, right? They don't change your project itself. And that's correct. Yes, it's just changes to the display. It's not actually changing anything about your project, really. Yeah, it's literally just changing the environment, that environment when you open up composition mode. So great question, Kimberly. Yeah, it doesn't change actually anything in the actual project itself. It's just how you're viewing it in composition mode. Okay. Looking good. I see someone asked for the typewriter mode demonstration. We'll see if we have time for that. I want to get to some other questions too, as well. We got so many. It's tough. But Mary Rose is asking, can you go over editing and the type of editing offered? Thank you. Correct me if I'm wrong. You guys offer editing services too, right?
Yes.
Is that
So I don't know
correct?
if
Yeah.
she's asking for BookBaby or she's asking for Scrivener.
For either or, yeah. So, BookBaby offers it. I do also offer professional editing services. If you're interested in that, reach out to me. I'd say just send me an email. I do have several clients that I've done and helped in the past, and it's been fun. I enjoy doing it, but I will say it's not like the main thing I do. So, yeah, BookBaby may be better, maybe better maybe a better service for you, especially if you're ready to go from professional editing directly into self-publishing. But if you need some small edits here and there, some book coaching, I'm definitely available and happy to help.
Yeah. And like I'm sure Oliver is an excellent editor. But it's also volume. I know there are a lot of
Yeah.
people here at this
Yeah.
webinar
Oh yeah.
today, and so BookBaby can handle a little bit more volume because he's one
Definitely.
person. No, nothing to
Oh yeah.
Oliver, but that's just facts.
No,
It's just
no.
numbers.
You are 100% correct. For me, uh, more than a couple clients, it gets incredibly difficult. Editing, in case you guys didn't know, is a very time intensive and a process. It takes a lot of work. It is not easy, and it's why often it's quite expensive too, because it takes a lot out of you. Yeah, I would highly recommend you hit up BookBaby for that. They're going to be really good and definitely going to be help you out with that. Yep.
Yeah.
So
Just a couple things. I see some questions about BookBaby. I think I can answer
yeah,
two in one. One
go
was,
for it.
does BookBaby publish poetry? Short answer is yes. All genres, so nonfiction, romance, yeah, fantasy,
Yeah.
everything you can think
Yeah.
of, and you can go to our site. We have all the different genres. We can help you publish it, even Arabic and Jewish books, because it's flipped in a different way than English. We can do that. And then Matt was saying, will BookBaby ever have an API for the bookshop so we can incorporate it into our own e-commerce platform?
Ooh, that
So
would
we
be
actually
cool.
have link generators that you can put on your own personal website. It doesn't sync up to something like Shopify, but if you have a website, you can generate a link and you can be able to sell your book on demand. So we do have some things in place.
Excellent. Great. Let's see here. One thing I'll answer real quick here for Linda's asking, she's saying her manuscript is 99.5% finished, gone through 10 drafts. Ooh, that's a lot. She's asking if BookBaby requires Scrivener, which I will say right now it does not. Okay. You own Scrivener, but you stopped using it 2 years ago since agents generally require Word documents. So hopefully I kind of covered that concern already. You can see in Scrivener, it's really easy to export your Scrivener project into a Microsoft Word document. Very simple. And then that could easily be passed on to an agent, to an editor, to BookBaby, and then they can take it from there. So no concern there. Yeah, they don't require each other, but if you use one, you certainly can get it to the other person, no problem. Let's see here. We got a lot of questions. I'm going to try to scan through and pick the most relevant ones. Okay.
I see one, if you don't mind me jumping
Yeah,
in.
yeah. You go.
Anonymous.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there a
Yeah, go for it.
reason that I would choose BookBaby as opposed to something like Ingram Spark, is what I'm guessing, which also has
Mm,
distribution and direct book sales? Yes, I've talked to countless people who have published with them, and they don't have people like real people you can actually speak with. Also, built into our print on demand distribution is our books are returnable, which really incentivizes stores. They don't want your books if they're not returnable. And there's no additional cost when you're publishing with us, whereas that's an added service with Ingram. And if you don't choose it and they return it, you end up paying them back. So those are some little things that when you're not able to speak to a real human and really get all of that information, it could be misleading. It might look really great until some of those things happen on the back end, and we want to prevent that for our authors.
definitely. Excellent. Excellent. Well, we're running low on time, guys. So maybe we just do like two more questions.
Sure.
I wish I could answer all these questions. There's so many great questions here.
Will you be able
Um,
to maybe get back to them afterwards, like, just send out or I don't know, respond to some of the questions in a later YouTube video? I'm just
Later,
asking out. I'm
yeah.
just thinking out
No,
loud. I
it's a
don't know.
good question. What I will do is I will copy these. The problem with Zoom, and this is maybe those of you who are more familiar with Zoom, is that it saves the chat. Unfortunately, it doesn't save the Q&A. I don't know why.
Ah,
It's such a huge oversight because it'd be great to have those questions to look at later, and then we can then respond to the most relevant ones and get those questions out there. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a document. I'm going to put it in one of my Scrivener projects here, and then I can easily come back and answer some of those questions later. Let me see if I can find it real quick. And then I think we'll do two more and we'll call it good. Yep, I got those questions saved now. Now, can I leave my email here or do you have an email? Great question. My email is contact@ogevanson.com. And yes, there will be a recording later for anyone who's coming in late. I'll get the recording out on YouTube probably either later today or early tomorrow, and that'll be in our webinar library next week. So watch out for that. Okay, Carla's asking for the typewriter mode demonstration. Maybe I'll do that one, and if Ramona, while I'm doing that, you mind looking for one more question for you, and then you
sure.
can answer that, and then I think we'll wrap it up from there. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and we'll do that typewriter mode demonstration here. Okay. So I'm going to move my Zoom windows out of the way. Make this happen. Okay. So first off, this is going to be a lot better because we already have some text in here. If I go into composition mode, let's just choose this one right here, composition mode here. You can see typewriting scroll is enabled. I'm going to turn it off right down here at the bottom left corner, right there. You can see if it's off, it's not filled in. If it's on, it's filled in. If I scroll down to the bottom, and if I were to type right now, and actually I have a camera right in front of my screen, so it's actually really hard for me to see. And I'd be typing here at the bottom of my screen. Oh, I hate that. It drives me nuts. And like I'd be typing, see, and I can't really see it very well. But with typewriter mode turned on, it centers that up right to the center of the screen for me. And guess what? It always stays there, no matter what. It just stays right there at the center. And so that's typewriter mode. It's in a nutshell. It's really simple, but it is on my opinion, one of the best features for composition mode here because one, I can make sure that my paper width is just right. Okay. And then I can keep it in the center of my screen. So I'm not always looking at the top. I'm not always looking at the bottom. I'm looking at the center of my screen, which is the main area of the screen anyway. And so it just makes that really easy to use. So that's how we can do that. That does also work out here. You can turn on typewriter mode in other parts of Scrivener. In fact, if I went, I think I already have it on if I could spell typewriter. There it is right there. Typewriter scrolling, you see I already have the check next to it. That means it's turned on. And so it'll always keep that on in the center for me. I recommend you just keep it on all the time. There may be a situation here or there where you might not want it on, but really I can't think of one. I always have it on and it's great. So there you go. Take advantage of that. Use it. It's a very useful tool. Okay, perfect. Oh, did you find one more question, Ramona? Or
I
yeah,
did. It seemed like it was a recurring question, so I figured I'd answer that because it seemed like more than
good.
one person had it. We have a lot of international people, and so they were asking how does it work to work with BookBaby if
Right.
you're not in
Yeah.
the U.S. And it's basically the same. And there's probably like a few countries in the Middle East that we can't work with just because we're the United States. But for the most part, we can work with anybody across the globe as long as you have internet access. You can log into our site, you can work with our systems, you can pay for our services, and you can speak with us as well. We, have some options sometimes when you coordinate with the specialist that will be assigned to your project. You can Zoom with them. You can have like a Zoom meet, because we don't have WhatsApp. I know that's popular. But no, it's really the same. As long as you have the desire to publish a book, you want to learn more, we can work with you.
Perfect. Great. Well, that is really exciting, guys. Thank you so much, Ramona, for joining us today. This has been an awesome collaboration. We've had a lot of fun here. Let me just find my last bit of notes here and we will wrap it up and call it a day. If I can find it. There it is. Okay. So that concludes our presentation on 5 steps to finishing and publishing your book by the new year. Thank you all for attending and participating in this session. If you have any questions or any concerns or anything like that, please use the email addresses listed there to reach out to us, or go to BookBaby's website to ask them questions and get all familiar with everything you need. And so I hope you found this information informative and useful, enhancing your writing skills and getting you ready to publish your book. I just want to tell you all, write on, stay creative, and we'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.